Welcome to Buffalo Plus Live. Dan Fetes. I am Jenna Cottrell. You might realize that a member of our team is missing.
We are a young team today.
We are a young team.
This is a young show.
Yes, we are. We are hungry and humble.
Yes.
Mike Cottrell.
The elder statesman is not here.
He is celebrating his 60th birthday.
The big 6-0.
So he's with friends and family. So.
I'm sure he's not talking or pontificating.
No.
I'm sure he's just being quiet.
Yeah, no. Mike is a really shy guy.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I can't even begin to explain how much Mike talks. But we miss him here tonight, but we know he's enjoying himself. So we want to welcome you to the show. We're talking Bills Chiefs tonight. There's so much in this matchup. I did a video on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel earlier today. It's just...
What did you say? This matchup doesn't have any more power over you? No,
I was saying that if I'm the Bills. Like, if I'm the Bills,
gotcha.
I'm saying this is a Week 6 game. And it's like, because realistically, it matters because it's an AFC game, but it doesn't, like, it is a Week 6 game. But internally, I'm like, I want to destroy you.
Yeah, I mean, this is every single time that you have two superstar quarterbacks going head-to-head against one another. The teams can lie, quote unquote, all they want, but this is not just another game. It was never another game when Brady would play Rodgers or Brady would play Manning. It just comes with the territory. So be sure to comment along on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel as well as on the 13 Wham Facebook page. Shout out Stephen Bond, who says Mike is only actually 38 years old and that this is not his burner account, which I can't trust. I will be with Steve tomorrow doing a VSiN show.
Oh, great. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Hi, Stephen Bond.
Also, good comments already.
We'll get to those because we got to start the show. We'll be back in 5 seconds.
Buffalo Plus, your interactive look at the week in football. Brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome to Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris. We're talking all about these Buffalo Bills as they head into Week 6. Dan Fetes, I am Jenna Cottrell. You might realize a member of our team is missing. Mr. Mike Cottrell is celebrating his 60th birthday, so we were generous. We decided to give him the night off. But
the veteran rest day.
The veteran rest day for him. But let's talk about this matchup, Dan, because Bills, Chiefs, there is so much history between these two. This will be their 5th meeting in the last 3 years. But to talk about this meeting, we also have to talk about the way the last one went, which was obviously heartbreaking in terms of a season-ending loss for the Bills in the playoffs.
Yeah, Sean McDermott can't really get out of 13 seconds. It is still going to be talked about. When the Chiefs had the ball on Monday night with 17 seconds left before halftime, Troy Aikman makes the joke. This is plenty of time for the Chiefs. Like, that game will live on forever. Obviously, it's a heartbreaker in Kansas City. The last 2 years have ended there. So the number of storylines, I think we talked about this like week after the opening game in LA. We were like, Tennessee just doesn't have the same, this matchup doesn't have the same gusto as if we got all of it. We got all of it in this one. And that's why we could talk for an hour and a half about, it's funny, you said the history between these two teams.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of recent
history, but there's a long list of history. And I feel like when you're in the Western New York area, or if you talk to Bills fans, it's like you have to whisper 13 seconds because of what it brings back. Look, we know on the broadcast there's going to be talked about a lot. They're going to reference it. Maybe you have to avert your eyes. I don't know if for Bills fans. But there's so much that goes into it. And the fact that there's so much to learn there.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to think that, the Bills were able to take things away from that experience. We got to hear from Sean McDermott about exactly that. Now, a couple months removed, what he says about what happened and what the Bills took away from the experience.
Learn a lot about yourself, about the people around you, how to be a better coach. I mean, it's just I think a refining process that you go through. And so I think the evolution of our football team, the evolution of our staff, and the adjustments that we've made, not making an over-adjustment, but also not making an under-adjustment either.
I think that's important. Not making an over-adjustment because of the talent on this team, but not under-adjusting as well, which I guess is like a new phrase.
I like it.
But what do you think was McDermott's biggest takeaway?
That they're good enough to beat this Chiefs team on the road in Kansas City in the playoffs. I think last year when they played in the 2021 playoffs, they just didn't have it.
Yeah.
Like that game seemed
to
spiral.
That was the AFC Championship game. Yeah.
It just seemed like the Bills didn't play up to their standard and were a little overwhelmed by the scenario and the stage. And that just wasn't the case last year. It was a fluke.
Yeah.
And if I'm Sean McDermott, I'm saying we won that game. We win that game 99 times out of 100.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you can take away is they didn't beat us. We beat ourselves, and that is part of what happens. Look, good teams find ways to make plays at the end of the game. That is what Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill did. But this is a whole new element, Jenna, because Von Miller wasn't on this team last year. Different players in and out. So I think that's where you can. I'm ready to move on from 13 seconds. I just can't believe that we are still asking Sean McDermott about it like we haven't heard everything already.
I mean, you talk about being ready to move on. The Bills players are ready to move on. We got to talk to them this week at practice just about 13 seconds. And you can tell when you talk to the players, their reactions, they might not be talking, but you can kind of see, if they like a question, they kind of perk up. If they don't, they kind of push it to the side. 13 seconds was talked about so much. You could see the body language. But every guy that we talked to really just talked about how, hey, it's just another week of football.
We've moved on. We're ready to again focus on this week, and I know everybody in the media is going to make a big deal of it. But as players, it really is just our next game on our schedule. It's the biggest one we're playing because it is the next one. Nothing that we did last year carries over to this year. So we just got to go out there again into a hostile environment. We know how their crowd is. It's a fantastic place to play in. It's one of the special places you can play in the league for sure. So looking forward to the challenge. And again, it's a really good team that we're about to go play.
It's just week 6.
Yeah, I just don't buy it. Like, I just don't buy it at all. And the Bills can say that. And look, it's also different because when the Bills used to play on these big primetime nationally televised games, it was like, how are you going to handle the bright lights? Both of these teams live in the bright lights.
Yeah,
they
they're
are
used to
constantly on primetime. So it just goes back to the fact of, Jenna, these two teams, whether it's Andy Reid and Sean McDermott, whether it's Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, it is superstars. And not only that, you have this rivalry that has blossomed as these two quarterbacks have emerged. And it's funny because they're not even in the same division, but they've played each other 4 times in the last 2 years. We asked Isaiah McKenzie about it today, or on Wednesday. Are the Chiefs your biggest rival?
I was saying, we play them every year, and it's been twice a year, every year so far. I feel like they're part of the division now, you know what I'm saying? Somebody got to outscore somebody, and we want to be on that, on that top end, with the win. But, we know they got firepower, we got firepower, and it's just going to be a shootout. Josh is going to throw the ball, Patrick Mahomes is going to throw the ball, and they just going to go at it. And, as a team, we just got to work together and just outscore the other team.
Yeah, just outscore the other team.
Yeah, it seems simple, right?
Yeah, it's just... This fact of, we even asked Taron Johnson in the locker room, and we asked him, are these you guys your biggest rivals? And he goes, no, it's just another game. We're in a media scrum. Just another game. We're just taking it 1 week at a time. Josh likes to say it's the most important game because it's the next game. And Taron finished his answer and looked up at the camera with a straight face and was like, did you guys buy that? And we all kind of chuckled.
Sold that,
Yeah, totally. It's this isn't another game.
No.
There is so much more on the line than just a win.
It's pride. That's what it is. Obviously, it's first place in the AFC, but again, it is week 6. It's an AFC game, all of these things. But I think what happened and the way last year ended, it's always going to be on these players' minds.
But not only that, Jenna, it's also the winning quarterback is now the front runner for MVP.
Correct.
Because we talked about that when the Bills faced the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. So all of these things weigh into this. And this is where the Bills offense needs to step up. The Chiefs are starting 2 rookie corners. Their defense is still not good. It is what allowed Josh Allen to make 2 comebacks in the final minute 13 of last year. So there will be opportunities here.
I think there's a lot of confidence, too. They beat them last year. And then also what they're coming off of. I mean, the Bills get right against the Steelers. Josh Allen, 4 touchdowns, 424 yards, a new career high for him. I mean, this team, look, we know the Steelers are nowhere near the Chiefs, but I think a lot of things can get rolling after that. And Deion Dawkins talked about how important that really is.
And anytime Josh does something special, it gives us nothing but positivity and confidence. When our quarterback is growing at a rapid fire rate. You know, it's just a test to his team and the guys that are around him that are pushing him for the better. But all of that great things that happen just puts us in a better like positivity with our minds.
Yeah. I mean, Deion Dawkins could talk all about Josh Allen, but we know there's another really good quarterback that's going to be on the other side of the field, and that is Patrick Mahomes. Coming up, we're talking all about the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and that rivalry as the Bills head down to Kansas City. We'll have that coming up after the break. Hello, all. Welcome back. Any good comments?
Yeah, Zeus, King of God, says 13 seconds is the new Norwood. And I think you have that same sense of different generations, different fan bases, completely different teams, but teams on the rise. And much like Norwood, like you thought, okay, well, the Bills didn't get that one, but like they'll win a Super Bowl. They go back, they go to 3 more after that.
We don't know if it's like that.
Correct, but that's what I'm saying is that there's that expectation that the Bills will be back, that it'll be Bills and Chiefs again somewhere down the line in this AFC playoff.
Oh, Dan. Scott Norwood. I mean, yeah, obviously there's the mark of that, and that's tough. That's tough for this Bills team to swallow, but at the same point, that is last year. And I know that does sound cliche, but you can take a lot and you can learn a lot season to season, but the teams are a little bit different. You talked about the addition of Von Miller. What that means, it does make the complexion of the game different. But, I mean, look, it also, too, we talked about this a little bit, but it is, I see what you're saying. It's for top spot in the AFC.
Don't do it.
It is week 6.
Nope.
If they lose, the sky is not falling to me.
Agreed. And if they win, just like they did last year in Kansas City, it doesn't mean they're going to host a playoff game because
I agree.
We saw what happened in Jacksonville. Mike and I still believe the Bills are going to win that game against Urban Meyer and Jacksonville, but they don't.
They lost.
So yeah, it is still a lot to it, but it's the fact of all eyeballs will be on Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, these two great teams, these two Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah. It's still going to be week 6.
I don't know, Jen. I don't know.
They'll be on the call. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris. Look, we've talked so much about this Bills team, but we know this Chiefs team very well as well, and we know it starts with that guy under center. And Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he can do everything. I feel like he hasn't been talked about as much this year, but Mahomes and the Chiefs, they are also 4-1, Dan.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Josh Allen, and I don't know if you've heard this, but the NFL is a quarterback-driven league. These are 2 of the best. Also, I don't know if you know this, Sean McDermott coached under Andy Reid. So there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of things going into this matchup. But, yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes we have seen. The question was, would he be as explosive? Did Tyreek Hill, how much did he help Patrick Mahomes? We have now seen that Patrick Mahomes is going to be Patrick Mahomes if Jenna and I are running routes out there. Like, that is how good he is, the things that he's making happen.
Well, they can just flip a switch, and we've seen that. But this game is interesting because it also marks the first time that Patrick Mahomes will be a home underdog for the first time in his career. The Bills are the favorites going into this game. That is something that makes it unique. Mahomes was asked about it. He said, it is what it is. But Mahomes was also asked about Josh Allen and what he sees in this budding rivalry between the two.
When you go up against the other great quarterbacks in the league, you always want to win. You always want to compete. Josh is a great guy. I mean, he's a great quarterback, physically talented, can throw, can run, can really do it all. But he's a great dude too. And so obviously, when we're on the football field, we were competing against each other, and we want to beat each other's teams. But I have a ton of respect for him and the player and person that he is.
I mean, they're golfing buddies, right?
I say they're golfing buddies. Jay-Z says it. Real recognize real. Like these are that level of guys. And it's funny that you talked about the fact that Josh Allen and even to some respects Justin Herbert got a lot of love this offseason. And we kind of
a little bit.
But it's also the life in the NFL of the new shiny toy. Like we've seen Mahomes do it for so long that we're like, it's kind of getting old. It's not old once again. It's fantastic. So I caught up with Haley Lewis out in Kansas City. She's a reporter at a local station that covers the Chiefs. And I asked her, with all this talk around Allen, Did Mahomes take that as another chip on his shoulder?
No. He knows that people have slept on him this past offseason. And you saw it. I don't know if you saw the video that kind of circulated. He got picked up on the mic from the field where he's yelling back at the Raiders, and he's like, I'm here. I'm here. Like, recognize that I'm in this still. And it is the crazy stuff that he can continue to do when he has those deficits or when he has games where they're behind. I think people slept on him this past offseason when everyone was freaking out about Tyreek.
Yeah.
Imagine sleeping on Patrick Mahomes.
I know.
And this is going to be a high-powered matchup. We'll get to our picks in a little bit, but it's 2 star quarterbacks.
And we know it's going to be really loud at Arrowhead because it's always really loud at Arrowhead. It is a hostile crowd. The Bills are very familiar with how it goes, but here's what Dion Dawkins has to say. And this is gold about playing down against Kansas City.
Really what the NFL is about, the atmosphere, the crazy fans, that crowd noise, like all of that stuff, and Arrowhead has it. You know, like they have that fan effect where, you know, like you can feel them. Like when they start doing that chant, shoot, we hear the chant for real. But, you know, we're all pros, so, and we learn to adapt that into our play and, you know, try to ignore it, which is impossible, but we just try our best to just, you know, play with it and not play against it.
I remember asking Stephon Diggs last year what it was like playing at Arrowhead, because he had done it before when he was in Minnesota, and he said that it is so loud, it's deafening to the fact where you don't hear anything, because he goes, you couldn't even hear your own self think. So you really just have to be in the moment, and he goes, he kind of enjoys that game. And we have seen when they beat them in the regular season, Josh Allen threw the game-sealing touchdown against Emmanuel Sanders and ran right by our cameras and said bye to all the Chiefs fans. So this is a rivalry. They love it, and this is much like it goes either way here in Buffalo. Yeah,
definitely. We know it's going to be a fun matchup in this one. And coming up after the break, speaking of fun, Trey White, there he is. He is back, the all-pro corner returning to the field. We'll have more on Trey's timeline of when he'll be in the lineup coming up after the break. Hello. Welcome back. Any good comments?
A couple of ones that just say Dan's an idiot, but, you know, like, I don't shy away from those.
Let's talk about real quick, though, how loud it is at Arrowhead. You've been there. I've been there. It is
a different level.
So
it's the closest
thing. Ears.
Yeah, but it's the closest thing to playing at Orchard Park.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's an older stadium where the fans are right on top of you.
Yeah, they really are.
Like, you think about all these new stadiums, and you were in LA, like, the fans are
far,
they have such big playing surfaces, and the seats are farther back for better views. Here, they are just on top of you, and the Bills were dancing on the sidelines with Bills Mafia after the Sunday night game. That game was also crazy because it had the lightning delay for an hour.
Oh, that's right.
All of those instances, like, there is never a normal game.
There really isn't.
Between these two teams.
Yeah, it's always weird.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, speaking of how close the benches are to where the fans are, I'm thinking of Josh Allen after they scored at the end of that game last year and just saying, let's go. That was cool.
John Bartone says, great show, guys. Can you tell us about cornerback Rhodes? Xavier Rhodes is not ready to play yet. He did not practice.
Yeah, he had a hamstring issue.
Still dealing with a hamstring injury.
I know that's tough because the Bills signed him thinking he would play, and then obviously dealing with the injury. He's an older guy. He was coming in off the street essentially. Look, still in football shape, but football shape and playing shape are very different, as we know. So the Bills will have to wait on him, but it looks like Trey White will be returning, and that is
after the bye. Yep, for the Green Bay game.
Yes. So that is that.
What?
Is that confirmed?
No, but
okay.
That's what I was like.
All right, we're taking a break. We'll be right back. We gotta discuss. All right, welcome back to Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris. All right, we've talked so much about this Bills team. It's week 6 of the NFL season. Injuries are a part of this game, Dan. But let's talk about the URMC injury update, because it seems like this Bills team is actually getting, dare I say, healthier.
Yeah, it seems like every single time the injury bug would just keep biting. Look, I know it's still a lot of names. I understand that.
Yeah, that's a lot, but
only 2 DNPs. Okay, so we've got a lot of limited and a lot of fulls. So that's a really good sign. Obviously, the big names to look at keeping an eye on for as the week progresses. Jordan Poyer as well as Tremaine Edmonds. You know, those are. Last week it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of where the Bills played it safe, not dressing some of the guys, knowing we can probably beat Pittsburgh with our backups.
Yeah.
And they did.
They blew out.
But I think they also had one eye looking at Kansas City.
Yeah. We thank your Medicine Sports Medicine for sponsoring that segment. We also want to talk about Trey White returning to the field. You were at practice this week, and just the joy, I feel like. I love this video. Well, explain what just happened.
Yeah, they had just gotten done stretching. They had broken the huddle, and Josh Allen didn't even know Trey was practicing. He said he just popped up out of nowhere, and then Josh always likes to have a daily race with all the quarterbacks. Trey smoked Josh. So, look, he looks great. We talked to a lot of players after practice. Trey didn't talk. Mike asked him, and he said it was kind of an emotional day, and he was just still wanted to recover. But we asked some of the other players what it's like to have Trey White back just practicing. He's not been cleared. He will not play on Sunday. Then the Bills have to bye. But the universal sentiment in the locker room was, it's just really great to have him back.
Yeah, making all that noise out there. You can hear him from a mile away. So that's just, like I said, it's just exciting to have him back out there, and I can't wait to see what he does when he get back.
I think the biggest thing was me just seeing him smile, seeing him laugh, man, and it meant a lot to me, and I know it meant a lot to him because he's been putting in work, man. I take my hat off to him. I mean, you see him out there moving around. He didn't lose a beat, so I'm excited to get him back.
We talk so much about in sports vibes. Does a guy have juice as well?
Yeah.
Trey White brings it. And it's not just the physicality as well as the competitiveness as well as the talent. It's also just he loves playing football like all these guys do, but at the same point, it meant something for him to be back out on the field.
A lot of guys talked about how it was emotional to see.
Yeah.
Deion Dawkins said he walked out behind Trey White to practice, and just knowing what it took to get him there. I was on the sidelines in New Orleans on Thanksgiving, and I just remember texting Mike going, it's not good.
Yeah.
Like he's crying, this isn't good. And we were obviously all hoping for the best, and it was obviously worst case scenario. So it's been a long road to recovery. Adrian, hand up, hand up.
Thank you.
Not an oil change for
Dan
for
Fetes
everybody.
said getting your ACL repaired was like an oil change.
Yep. I'll take the L on that one.
I will take the winner's lap.
Yeah. This is the fact of Adrian Peterson ruined ACL recoveries all the time because he bounced back in like 6 months. So I thought Trey'd be back a little sooner, but obviously they're still inching him forward.
Yeah, so he's not going to play against Kansas City, but again, there's the bye coming up the week after, so a little extra time. We'll see when he is activated, when that will look like, what that timeline will be. Also, Isaiah McKenzie did pass concussion protocol as well, so it looks like he will be playing on Sunday against Kansas City. Look, we know this game is going to be a very fun one, and we checked in with our sponsor, Greg Connors, to hear what his predictions are for this one against the Chiefs.
I think it's going to be a lights out, race up and down the field. It's, seeing what Josh did just this past week with the Steelers, and they left probably 10 or 14 points on the field. And with the defense, the line coming back, I don't think either team's going to be running the ball much. And so you're going to see it. There's going to be, clock stoppage because of the ball's going to be in the air. And it's going to be a fun, entertaining game, which is why I think the Bills are going to beat them 34-31.
34-31. Are you expecting a track meet?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm expecting a high-powered game, tons of points, lots of fun. I think this game lives up to the hypes because it was funny in 2020, it was the COVID year, and we both kind of said that those games didn't live up to the hype. The first one, Josh didn't play well. The second one, the Bills kind of got blown out in that AFC Championship game. The last two lived up to the hype, and then some. I expect Sunday to be the same.
Fireworks. All right, coming up, we'll have more of our picks and predictions for this game against the Chiefs as we get you set for Kansas City and Buffalo. Hello. Welcome back. Hope you all are enjoying our show. I'm gotta say, Dan, I was a little nervous without Mike here. I think we're doing
I think this is solid.
I do too.
I don't have two people calling me an idiot. I only have
well, you have
one.
Everyone online.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, again, 320 people watching right now, so really appreciate it.
Always appreciate it.
Couple comments. Obviously, we don't know what's going on with OBJ
Yes.
And obviously all those speculations, I think the Bills are interested in adding pieces like we have seen teams recently, like the Rams did last year, getting Von Miller, getting OBJ, and kind of, while Brandon Beane will say that he doesn't want to go all in, I think he sees that this is an opportunity. We all thought the Broncos were going to be a Super Bowl contender.
It's crazy. I think of the Raiders, I thought as well. Like,
Yes.
these are teams that I was like, oh, the AFC is going to be tough. The AFC is tough because there's still Kansas City there.
Yeah, I know we're only 5 weeks into the season, but it's Bills, Chiefs, and everybody else.
Yeah, truly. I know. We thought the Broncos
You know what I'm saying?
were
Like
gonna
it was
be
like,
so
oh
good.
no, this is going to be so.
Let's ride.
Yeah.
Let's not.
The only Super Bowl that the country couldn't handle would be a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl.
I want that.
The infrastructure would.
I want that. Two passionate fan bases. Obviously, the Eagles have been there recently and won.
We have to give. Yeah, Mike's not here.
Mike would be very torn.
Yeah, Mike would go.
I actually texted. I was going to text him and say, I hope that your Eagles win another Super Bowl before, you get too old. But then I said,
before too old.
No, I mean like in the next couple of years, but not this year. Whoa!
Yeah.
All right, we're taking a break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris. Dan, the Chiefs, the Bills, once again playing. I know it's week 6, but what are you expecting?
No, it's the biggest game because it's the next one. No, it's not. It's the biggest game because these two teams are Super Bowl contenders. And when I look at this matchup, I've gone back and forth. The fact that the Bills are making Patrick Mahomes an underdog at home for the first time in his career really tells you what Vegas and what the rest of the NFL think of Josh Allen and this Bills offense. The Chiefs' defense stinks. I've said that the last few weeks, but once again, they're not very good. 2 rookie corners are going to start. I think this game ends up going back and forth. My one fear is that I don't know what Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott can throw at Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid to confuse him. They've used up what I think is almost everything in the kitchen sink. The 1 year, the first time they played, they didn't blitz him, and Mahomes ran all over them. Then they tried blitzing him, and Mahomes beat him. Then they tried not blitzing at all, and they beat Mahomes that time. So I don't know what you can do, but I'm still betting on Josh Allen to win you a shootout. I think if your team can force, whichever team forces 3 punts gets this win. Wow. I have the Bills winning this one 38-36, so it's a Chiefs cover, but it's a Bills win.
What's the over-under?
54.
Ooh, that's going to be a fun one. All right, you have this one being a track meet. I have this game being a little bit less high scoring. But I think because initially it might be some of those nerves, maybe take a little second for both teams to kind of settle in this one. I have the Bills winning this one, though, as well. I think Josh Allen, the talent speaks for itself. Look, Patrick Mahomes, we know, is incredible. I just think when you look at the overall top-to-bottom talent, I'm also expecting Von Miller to have an impact in this game.
Good point.
He has been the new wrinkle in terms of this defense. We know, obviously, Leslie Frazier has plenty of experience against Mahomes and company. But at the same point, I think Von Miller would show that veteran stance, and that will be the difference in this game. I have the Bills winning 31-24. We are 4-1, all 3 of us.
Yep.
Now, again, Mike Catalana is not here tonight because he's celebrating his birthday, a veteran night off. But he did let us know, of course, he talked all about his picks. Here's what he is predicting for this game.
All right, Bills against the Chiefs this week, and I think this is the most highly anticipated regular season game in the entire league because we saw what we saw a year ago in the playoffs when, well, the Bills should have won. They know that. They went to Kansas City a year ago, and they won, outplaying the Chiefs. Then they lost in the playoff game, and I thought they were the better team both times. This time, the Chiefs are playing really well offensively. But their defense can be leaky, and I think that's the difference in this one. I think Josh Allen and the offense get going, and I think Leslie Frazier, again, has a good plan to try to contain what the Chiefs do best. And as we saw last week, while they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore, they have Travis Kelce. He's a guy they have to slow down. I think this is fast-paced both ways, up and down the field. I think the Bills outscore Kansas City and get the win. I'm going to go with the Bills taking it 34-31 in KC.
34-31. Again, we expect a lot of points in this game. We want to take a quick look at all of our picks. Again, we are all 4-1 on the season.
This was the toughest one.
This was the,
I think earlier in the week, I was leaning Chiefs.
Really?
I was leaning Chiefs.
What made you change your mind?
The fact that the Bills are seen as favorites, I think, says a lot, as well as this Bills defense has been outstanding with all of the guys that they have been without.
The depth.
So this is not rocket science. I'm not going to try and break this down like I'm a Hall of Fame coach, but the difference, you were just asking me, what do you think the difference is going to be? It's Von Miller, Ed Oliver, Jordan Phillips, Daquan Jones. This is a much better front four for Buffalo this year than they had last year. And if you want to get to good quarterbacks, and if you want to beat good quarterbacks, get pressure with 4 so you can have 7 in coverage. That's the Bills' best bet, and I think that's going to pay off dividends this week.
So that could be the difference maker as the Bills take on the Chiefs. Be sure to subscribe to the Buffalo Plus channel on YouTube. There we'll have plenty of pregame as well as postgame coverage. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We always appreciate it. And we always appreciate you all watching. Thank you so much for joining us on Buffalo Plus. For Dan, I am Jenna. We'll catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus channel.
Happy birthday, Mike.